I'm talking purely with the hypothesis that BNP and Jamaat are in power post February 2026. And we are judging by the history in the past during their partnership 2001 to 6 and earlier also, say up to 91 to 96. We see they had been anti-India. We have seen they had given shelters to our insurgents. They were trained there. The arms supply, the Indian interests were harmed within Bangladesh, outside the rhetoric, the statements, and then there was a very clear inclination towards Pakistan, etc. So I don't see that they will be favorable towards India.
For the latest in strategic affairs, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the bell icon for updates.
You're watching The Gist on Stat News Global. I'm Ramananda Sengupta. Today we're going to be discussing Bangladesh, and joining us today is Shantanu Mukharji, a prominent security analyst, commentator, and columnist who's been following the country for over 4 decades now. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. Always a delight to have you with us. So, let's start with the first question, which is that the interim government led by Dr. Muhammad Yunus has said that elections will be held in February or probably before Eid next year. But there's already so much of differences between the administration and the various parties over the reforms that they're trying to pull. So do you think that might delay the elections?
I don't think so, because this time the last announcement what we heard was that there was a consensus after the Jamaat had talks with Tariq Rahman in London about a couple of months back, and a kind of consensus has arrived. So I don't think reforms or anything, that voice is very feeble, that will be delayed further unless there is something extraordinary or anything of extreme exigency occurs. So I think it will be on schedule in February next year.
So, but the parties that are involved, I mean, they've already said the Awami League will not be allowed to contest. The Awami League is a grassroots party. If you don't allow them to contest, can it be called a free and fair election?
Well, technically you are right. It cannot be free and fair. Like you can also say that the tenets of democracy is not being followed. Ethical values are not being followed. That is correct, what you are saying. But they will go ahead with that minus Awami League because that suits them. It suits their political ambitions, it suits their political pursuits. So they will do without Awami League. They will all contest amongst themselves, among the so-called like-minded parties. So yes, if you strictly want to judge it that way, it is not free and fair because the party which had ruled, party which was vibrant, a party which had a very crucial role to play right from the freedom movement, if it is not allowed, yes, it is not free and fair. But that doesn't matter to them. They will go ahead with that. They are in power. They will do whatever they feel like. They have already announced it, so they will go ahead.
It's, the BNP and the Jamaat, I mean, I suppose would be the thing. And apart from that, Dr. Yunus, I think, is either planning to launch a party or the students, together have a party in mind. Earlier, the BNP and the Jamaat used to sort of fight together. But now there are clear differences between them. So do you see them fighting together or do you see them fighting as separate units?
Well, it is very difficult to predict. It is premature to say that. But whatever, as a Bangladesh watcher, I can tell you this much, that even if they don't fight together, they may be having differences, but post-election, when the government will be formed, assuming that BNP comes to power, which is what the pollsters are saying as of now. So Jamaat will definitely enter into a partnership with BNP, and it should not come as a surprise because in the past also in Khalida Zia-led governments, Jamaat was a participant. It had two of its cabinet ministers in the berth, and they held important key portfolios, health and social welfare, etc. So I think whatever they will reconcile, they will sink their differences. And once the polls are over, and as I said, I would repeat, assuming that BNP comes to power or Jamaat comes to power, they will collaborate with each other, and as they had done in the past till 2006. And it should not sort of rattle us or should not surprise us because it is a marriage of convenience, marriage of not be strictly of a common ideology, but complete convenience because both hate Awami League, both hate pro-India elements, both hate pro-liberation lobbies, both are against the liberals or the seculars. So therefore they will go together, join hand together. They have the same agenda, more or less. That's what I read the situation like.
So, would I be right in sort of, what I'm hearing from you is that no matter what, the government that comes into play will not be very, very friendly to India?
Yeah, very unlikely, very unlikely. They would need India, but we have seen that in the past during their governance. I'm talking purely with the hypothesis that BNP and Jamaat are in power post February 2026. And we are judging by the history in the past during their partnership 2001 to 6 and earlier also say up to 91 to 96, we see they had been anti-India. We have seen they had given shelters to our insurgents. They were trained there. The arms supply, the Indian interests were harmed within Bangladesh, outside the rhetoric, the statements. And then there was a very clear inclination towards Pakistan, etc. So I don't see that they will be favorable towards India. I don't think so.
So you keep saying in the event of a Jamaat or BNP coming into power, but who are the other players?
Well, there are hardly any players. There is one party which is propping up, that is NCP, the National Citizen Party, but that is hardly a force to reckon with. It does not have any grassroots support, and even if they participate, so they are of no consequence. They hardly, even if the government lends any support, so I doubt if they get any substantial poll results to their credit. The other party, which if it contests, is the Jatiyo Party, which was founded by Ershad, and which is now with GM Kader. I don't think it has much of muscle and strength, will do well. So I feel there are only two principal contenders in the poll fray, BNP, which has not been in power for the last decade plus, and Jamaat-e-Islami. And BNP is visibly in a hurry to come back to power and make up for their long absence in the political space. So I keep saying that, and I still reiterate that they are the only key players in the forthcoming elections.
So what about the students who sort of led this revolution or whatever they want to call it? What about them? Because they delayed the election simply because they thought...
Yeah. After you, the students there, as I say, they are bodies. No doubt they were responsible in galvanizing the movement in July last year, which led to the overthrow of Hasina regime. But as far as the elections are concerned, it is doubtful whether they have any grassroots support or people will give. Electorally, they are at an advantageous position. I doubt that. So therefore, students I really, don't think much of them as far as their election prospects are concerned. They will come back to power or they will play any crucial or significant role, which I have my reservations and doubts, purely from the objective point of view, a dispassionate statement I'm making. I don't think so.
Hmm.
And you talked about Awami League and you say it is not going to be free and fair. Yes, you are right. But Awami League, we should know that still it is its ruling. I mean, its party leader has been overthrown. The regime is no longer there. But Awami League cadres are there. They are very much there.
Right.
Many have been put into the prisons. But whatever the rank and file is there, they are there. But since they are disallowed to participate in the elections, so now there could be some poll strategy on part of Jamaat and BNP. Now that would be to field some of the Awami League figures, may not be necessarily be on the BNP or Jamaat ticket, but as an independent, so that they get the votes and they will say, once you win, then we will give you positions once a government is formed or a cabinet is formed. This could be to allure them because they know their worth and they know there are certain pockets. So, for example, there are minority population or that particular candidate has his or her strength there, a good following, good electoral command there. So they might like to use them to their advantage. That could be part of their election strategy to win because it is a do or die situation. And they are trying to capitalize on this vacuum which has been caused after Hasina's exit. They want to capture that willy-nilly or by hook or by crook. And everything, now you see today's news says that the August 21, which is tomorrow, there was this case against former Home Minister Luftuzzaman Babar and Tariq Rahman. So now they are withdrawing that case against them. So everything is going in favor of these parties and people are watching. So they are at a vantage point. I hope I'm making things clear for you.
Yes, sir.
And therefore, yes, now many of them have been acquitted for all the criminal cases. So once they get a clean chit, they will be further emboldened. And when people come to vote, assuming again there are no malpractices by the polling agents or by the government agencies, then they come back to bar. So this is how I read the situation.
Sir, immediately after the sort of, the uprising and Sheikh Hasina fleeing, there was total anarchy and, confusion in the country. Has that eased a little bit, or do you still see issues regarding just common governance and, law and order and things like that?
You see, immediately in the aftermath of Hasina's exit, the anarchy was at its peak. From August 5 onwards, if you make a report card, it was then very dismal in the sense that there were open cases of mugging, the prisoners were being freed, the armories were being looted, there were cases of robbery, dacoities, and all kind of urban crime, murders. Everything was upswing. That was anarchy. And there were attacks on the minorities, vandalizing places of worship, not only Hindus, Ahmadiyyas, Shias, all kind of minorities, they were attacked. So we had seen that. But the trend of violence of law and order, that has not abated. There has not been any let-up. I don't say that there is anarchy of the same level as it was there correspondingly in the last year, last August, but definitely law and order. You see, only last month, if you know about the incidents in Gopalganj,
Right,
over
of course.
so many scores of people have been killed. Army was brought in. Prohibitory orders were imposed. Despite that, firing was there, and many died. And they used maximum force to quell the violence. What does it show? It shows that that pocket, which has got about 40% minority and Awami League presence, gave a run for life to the ruling party, and to the ruling party, I wouldn't say party, the present political dispensation under Yunus, and all the agencies. With great difficulty, they could control. So any kind of law and order eruption remains a possibility. Anarchy is a very strong word, but it did happen last year. But of not that scale, but it is very fragile. I can give you hundreds of examples of a very deteriorating law and order situation. Imagine Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's house in 32, road number 32, Dhanmondi, which was ransacked in the presence of the authorities. They all brought in, and that was followed by a very obnoxious, obscene lungi dance also to the house of the father of the nation and the founding father, and who was responsible for creation of Bangladesh. So this trend continues. That kind of law and order, a fragile law and order situation, that continues. Perhaps if a proper government comes to power, then there may be some kind of semblance of governance, some kind of stability may be seen, but keeping our fingers crossed. That's how I can see the situation emerging.
So you mentioned the army being called in at Gopalganj and places like that. What role do you see the army playing?
Well, army, as per these repeated statements and consistent statements of the army chief, General Wakir, that he will go with the elections. The army will be just for maintenance of peace and tranquil. There will be no interference. So I don't see that army will do anything role which will go against the people. But having said this, I would like to put a caveat that the army chief's statements few months ago was that in a national telecast or a broadcast, there he had warned the people that they should not cross the red lines and they should behave lest the situation goes out of control and the army is forced to take action. That should be borne in mind, that if it spins out of control, then in the name of controlling law and order, army might step in. And if you go by the history, in the past 54 years, you have seen that army has come in every now and then, wherever the situation worsened, or whenever the army wanted to come in, they had come. The army had always played a very critical and a very crucial role in the developments of Bangladesh.
I was asking that Dr. Yunus and the administration that he leads, do you think that they might want to have some sort of, power to hold on to once the elections comes in, and would they be allowed to do that? And what role do you see Dr. Yunus and his team playing post an election?
Well,
Do you expect them to just walk away?
No, it is like, if you're asking me, it would be like a soothsayer's statement or something,
Of course.
which I cannot know, but I can just give you my thoughts on this. Now, if the elections conclude peacefully and by the minimum yardsticks, free and fair, and if a particular party is elected, okay, and in that case, Yunus will have no role to play, not even a ceremonial role. So he has to make a very honorable exit. I don't think that last 1 year when he has been clinging on to power, and then after that he continues, he himself has been saying, once the elections are done, over, a new government takes into effect, then he winds up. So we believe that he would adhere to his word and he will no longer be part of the political process. So he goes then. Then it will be left to the political parties who have been elected or which is in power, up to them to see. But having said this, once again, if the winners decide to bring in Yunus, which the chances are very unlikely, that you play some ceremonial role, or you be there as our advisor or
Mhm.
mentor or something, that could be done to kind of reward to him that he has been uh, okay with them and did not go out of the way
Mhm.
to have that. That could be, but it is very unlikely. I don't think any role is
Mhm.
left for Muhammad Yunus at this point of time.
Yeah. Now, if we talk about not just Muhammad Yunus, but the students who are now in power, what about them?
They are
Do
now
you
in
think they just
power.
let go of power if they want to? I mean, if the elections come in, do you think
No,
the other
what can
parties
they
will sort of
do
absorb them?
if they are part of BNP, Jamaat-e-Islami, or any other party which comes to
Mhm.
power, then their representation is there. But per se, students' body, any body like this particular university students and all coming to govern, it is very unlikely. They will
Mhm.
have a role to play, say, for example, to agitate, to protest, or to criticize the government, like what an opposition does outside the parliament. That could be
Mhm.
the all because they will be then very marginalized. They will be inside their campuses only, barring issuing some statements. They will continue to be a body, a power which can be, say, come on the streets and threaten that we will overthrow you, like we overthrew the previous government. That kind of situation may arise. But as far as governance is concerned, I don't think the students will have any say unless they are elected by joining some of the parties which are in the poll fray and who are believed to win and come to the parliament. This
Mhm.
is what.
So, I mean, since we are almost running out of time, a last question, which is about bilateral relations. I mean, they are really soured in between, with a lot of sort of nasty words exchange and things like that. That seems to have eased a little bit, but we still have, blockages on trade. We still have blockages on allowing Bangladeshis to come in. We are still trying to push Bangladeshis out. And from their side, they complain that they're killing people on the border and forcing people back into Bangladesh who are not Bangladeshis. Um, the trust is no longer there as far as conventional wisdom says. And while I suppose we could try and rebuild other factors like communication things and maybe I mean infrastructure or something we could try, but how are we trying to break that part? Are we doing something to sort of still be a player once the new government comes in? What can India do and what can Bangladesh do?
Well, India is watching now the political development.
Mhm.
Definitely, even after Hasina's exit, India's role has been very visible, very positive, and very friendly. It had not left Bangladesh's hand. Our foreign secretary had visited. Our prime minister had met Muhammad Yunus on the sidelines of some summit in Southeast Asia. So, from our
Mhm.
side, the gestures have been more than normal, more than friendly. And as far as I know, India has always been sending good overtures to Bangladesh to have a
Mhm.
friendly. Now, when the new government, hopefully, when it comes to power in next year sometime, hopefully so, and then
Mhm.
definitely India, like in the past, will reach out to whichever government is. After all, Bangladesh is our neighbor, and
Right.
whatever beating the relationship has taken, it is definitely soured, as you say, and it has plummeted. But India will, I don't think, will leave any stones unturned not to improve the relations, and it will to bring it back on rails. And
Mhm.
that's what I feel. We have a good bunch of diplomats, experienced ones, very mature ones. Our policy, as you can see, in the
Mhm.
geopolitics, in the present context, they are doing well. So they will also reach out to Bangladesh and try to mend ties on its own. This is my
Mhm.
thought on this.
Mhm. But so the Jamaat has always been known to be a pro-Pakistani kind of a party. And we recently had the Pakistan army chief saying that we will attack you from the east, implying that they had that kind of clout now in Bangladesh. Now, is that something we should worry about?
No, we should not worry about, like, we should not be cowed down by that. We can take it as a veiled threat, but
Mhm.
having said that, we should not abandon our caution. We should be on our alert. That is part of this thing that the field marshal has got the habit of sort of giving all kinds of warnings from a foreign
Right.
soil, the east and all.
Mhm.
But we should not be seen to be unnecessarily worried about the threat. We are capable. We are a mighty nation. And you have seen what happened in Operation Sindoor with a renewed confidence. So even if these threats come from the east, west, north, or south, we'll be able to effectively deal with it. So we need
Mhm.
not be afraid of that, be cowed down by he had said, or we worry about it, we lose our sleep over it. Certainly not.
Mhm. And what about the other players, China? Do you see China becoming more active in that region post the elections?
Well, China, it is because the latest is today, the Chinese foreign minister was in India, and we can see some warmth between the two countries, and which is a very healthy sign. In that case, we don't hope that there'll be something which should be a cause of worry vis-a-vis China-Bangladesh relationship. We are also
Mhm.
having an ameliorated sense of relationship between China and India. So
Mhm.
we will not worry about it. And even if
Mhm.
something foreseen happens there in the bilateral or trilateral relationship, we should be able to address it.
Mhm. And so finally, whenever the BNP was in power earlier, they always used to give refuge to insurgents from India, like the ULFA and various other northeastern parties. Do you see that reviving no matter who comes in?
Well, that may not be a priority because that was there, then we were also and this was long back, 15, 20 years back. Now we
Yes,
have
no.
come a long way. Our
Hmm.
intelligence machinery, our counter-terror machinery, they have all come of age now. So I don't think that we should only continue to up our antenna and try to be fair. And if we have the slightest inkling of any insurgent groups or any inimical or hostile to Indian interests, they try to take refuge that we can solve it either through direct measures or through diplomacy or through exposing them. So I think we are better prepared this time and we'll be able to effectively deal with it. I'm optimistic
Hmm.
on it.
I think that's a wonderful way on which to sort of end this particular interview, sir. Thank you so very much, sir. I think you put the relationship into perspective in your own candid way. And it's always a delight to have you with us. And I look forward to having you with us again. Thank you
Thank
again, sir.
you very much. Thank you very much for having me. Grateful.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
That was Shantanu Mukherjee, prominent security analyst who has been watching Bangladesh for 4 decades now, telling us what he thinks is likely to happen once the new power comes into being in Bangladesh. I do hope you enjoyed this particular edition of The Gist, and I look forward to seeing you again. Till then, this is Ramananda Sengupta.